This is a tutorial on receiving and using feedback at work. What we're going to learn today is the difference between constructive and positive feedback, understand how we react to constructive feedback and how to deal with it, why feedback is a good thing, active listening to gain the most benefit from feedback, tips for receiving feedback, and the overall benefit of receiving and asking for feedback. Positive feedback is good, and most folks are happy to have it happen. You want to receive it well. Here's a few examples of positive feedback. The best positive feedback is always specific to what the recipient does. However, too many people respond to positive feedback poorly. You want to encourage specific positive feedback as it tells you what you are doing is right and you should continue. It's not an ego thing. React pleasantly, thank them, and commit to continuing. That's it. Constructive feedback is a nicer way of saying criticism, but it's a valuable thing to have. Hopefully, it's constructive because it's constructed in a way that you can work with it and improve. We're going to focus on receiving constructive feedback. Criticism hurts. We think someone is telling us we're not as good as we think. There's a natural defensive reaction to constructive criticism, to refute, to hit back, to defend ourselves. We're threatened. But it's not you as a whole. It's a specific area. We want to be thought of as awesome, great by everybody. Realize that constructive feedback isn't about that, but about one aspect of behavior that can improve. It does appear to put a dent in self-worth and ego, but remember, someone is telling you this because they believe you're worth it. Criticism lets us know we have some work to do. Isn't it better to know that and fix it than let it keep going on? Finally, many managers or supervisors don't do constructive criticism well. So react to the facts of what they're pointing out, not the style. They're stressed too. Now let's understand what constructive feedback can do for you. We need to use feedback. It helps you improve. Good feedback is a gift. It says you're worth getting it. The key is getting over your emotion and getting to the specifics, then taking action. Here Todd is reacting to getting constructive feedback. You can see he's working through the steps. Someone who receives and works on constructive feedback gains a plus in their personal brand. The receiver learns something to do better on and gains positive points in their personal brand or reputation because they can accept feedback and improve. People are more willing to help when they see the receiver is open. As you can see here, Todd made a good impression by his handling of the constructive feedback he got. So let's cover the steps in receiving constructive feedbacks. These are the steps in receiving constructive feedback. Active listening. Don't argue. Ask for clarification. Evaluate, develop a plan and execute it, and then circle back. Active listening includes repeating back what you heard to make sure you understand, but also so that the other person knows you get it. Note when something needs to be done by. Also, understand the impact of your taking action or not taking action. Next, don't argue. That's often the first reaction, regardless of the validity of the feedback. If you ask questions, don't turn them into a defense. By doing this, you make it safe for people to give you feedback, and you want that to improve. Ask clarifying questions to make sure you understand. When that's done, just say thank you. At this point, you and the feedback provider may have decided on a plan of action. If so, You need to then execute that plan and circle back to the provider. If not, go on to the next step. At the end, just say thank you. If you haven't decided on a plan, evaluate the feedback. Talk with others for additional feedback. Is it something you've already realized you're doing but haven't changed? Is the person giving feedback credible? If you define how you know you've succeeded, not only do you have a target, but you also have data or evidence to show it. That's part of developing a plan. Write it out if it's a larger issue. Put together a timeline. And again, how do you know you've succeeded? Finally, circle back. Check back with the feedback provider on your solution. Not once, but several times until you've succeeded. Don't be afraid to ask for more feedback. Let them know you've taken action, and at the end, you're successful. Research shows successful people actively seek feedback and use it to improve. It also makes them a more valuable and attractive employee. It demonstrates you're a good listener. You care about self-improvement and advancing. You can manage yourself and handle feedback. These are keys to being a future leader. So we've learned the difference between constructive and positive feedback and how to deal with both of them. We now understand our reaction to constructive feedback and how to deal with it so that we can better take advantage of the feedback we're getting. We understand why feedback is a good thing. We have active listening tips to gain the most benefit to feedback and other tips for receiving feedback. And finally, we learn the overall benefit of receiving and asking for feedback. Thank you for listening to this tutorial on receiving feedback. We hope this is a help to you in understanding and dealing with feedback.